Awesome first half of the show. Sam, let's get to Baltimore, unfortunately.
Okay, if we must.
So I think players are gonna need name tags with what has gone on the last few days. So Tommy DeVito's back starting. We found that out today. Drew Lock's in a walking boot. He can't play. Okay, here we go. Trey Hawkins placed on season-ending injured reserve. He'll be replaced by Greg Stroman on the active roster.
Okay.
The Giants added 5 new players to the practice squad, one of them being Tim Boyle, who they had on the 53 released and then brought him back. Some clockwork there. Ross Blacklock at defensive tackle and 2 corners, Iko Boydo and Azizi Hearn. Uh,
Okay.
Also, Giants have signed cornerback Divaad Wilson from the Cardinals practice squad to the active roster. So, I mentioned Stroman replaces Hawkins. Divaad Wilson probably replaces Drew Phillips, who has a partially torn rotator cuff. Not ideal. He had 2 starts last season for Arizona, this Divaad Wilson guy. 2023 UDFA by the Jaguars. Next up, I ran out of banners here for this one, but we'll put, what are we going to put here? Did I delete the banner? I might have. Oh, no. There we go. I'm just going to throw that one up there. Austin Schlottman, designated to return from IR. Giants have signed offensive lineman Jalen McKenzie to the practice squad, UDFA by the Patriots. Also, Tyler Nubin's season is done. Unfortunately, our second-round draft pick, he led the Giants in tackles with 98. He was a starter, out for the season, remainder of the season. 13 games played as a rookie, led the defense with 98 tackles, had a forced fumble. He was good. I mean, he wasn't no Xavier McKinney, but he was a really, really fun player and an excellent, I will say, this is an excellent draft pick by Joe Shane and company for the Giants and Tyler Nubin, for sure. We shouldn't have had to draft him, but we had to, and he nailed it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. There's a lot of names on here that I am not familiar with. I think Tim Boyle is probably as close as it gets for me.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's talk about Lamar, King Henry, and those Baltimore Ravens. So, Sam, did you know this? The biggest underdogs this season, the Giants are. That line is horrible.
Is it? I wonder what the biggest line ever has been, because that's got to be up there. 16 and a half. That's over 2 possessions. That is insane. That's insane. But I feel like, I know we got some moving parts here, and we got some guys coming in off the practice squad and guys we're not so familiar with, but we did hold. I mean, I know Derrick Henry, I would argue, is a better running back than Alvin Kamara, but we have the opportunity to shut that down, at least to an extent, right? So it's more of, the passing abilities of Lamar Jackson that I'm a little bit nervous about, because I know he can. I know everyone talks about running back. I think Lamar Jackson is a phenomenal quarterback, and he can sling the ball if he needs to.
His game has evolved since he's entered the league. He's really worked on passing more consistently. And I think, too, Baltimore's only allowed 19 sacks this season. They've kept Lamar relatively clean. That's tied for the third fewest sacks given up in the NFL. If the Giants are going to win this game, folks, they need to blitz Lamar like hell. If the Ravens weren't 8-5, he's probably right up there with Josh Allen for MVP consideration. I think it's Allen's race to lose. I don't even think Lamar is second in the conversation, only because the Baltimore Ravens are 8-5. You can argue the same thing for Joe Burrow, Sam. Those 2 QBs would both be an MVP consideration if their teams were better. I know Baltimore's a playoff team, but that 5-loss record, it hurts Lamar's status, where I think Saquon is probably number 2 right now, as much as that hurts to say.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that the MVP award is kind of turned into a quarterback award, because as much as it hurts us to see how well the Eagles are doing, like, Saquon is killing it, and he's doing a great job. And he should be considered highly for MVP because when you're backward hurdling over a dude, it's not an easy thing to do. But, obviously it's been 12 years since AP won MVP,
Yeah.
so maybe he'll break it, and I would wish him nothing but the best if he did, but Lamar, unfortunately, there's been some crucial errors in some crucial parts of games that have caused them to drop to 8-5. I was expecting them to be at the same level as I will argue just the Chiefs' record, not the Chiefs as a team, because they do not look good despite their record. I was expecting the Ravens to be significantly better than they are now.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, Lamar, and again, you could only put this on a measuring stick so much, but he hasn't played well in MetLife. Prior to this season, his first and only loss against the NFC was to the Giants, led by Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
That was the 24-20 game back in 2022. What's different this time? Giants are not healthy. They stink. Daniel Jones is not there, and Wink Martindale's not there. So I don't care if the Giants have won the last 3 meetings at home. I mean, it's going to be really an uphill battle. We're -8 in the turnover margin, Sam. They've lost 8 straight games. They're winless at home. They're 0-7 at home, and the Ravens are healthy. They're coming off their bye. They're coming off a loss. They're the 5 seed right now. They really need to get things going. They're 2 games behind the Steelers in the standings. I think Lamar is going to erupt on Sunday.
Yeah, and especially because I'll talk about it again when we do players to watch and stuff, but we have to look out for Mark Andrews. You have to keep an eye out for Isaiah Likely kind of sneaking into that offense again. Zay Flowers, like all these guys that are going to be down the field, and especially like Mark Andrews, who's been kind of quiet on the offense recently. I have a feeling that kid's going to go off this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, tight ends crush the Giants. Keys of the game. We'll start with you. What are you thinking for this week? I'm not going to say what do the Giants have to do to win. What do the Giants have to do to avoid a blowout, getting embarrassed? And what do the Giants have to do to avoid fans leaving their seats at halftime?
I mean, I think that they have to do exactly what they did this past weekend with the Saints. They have to contain the run game. They have to contain Derrick Henry because that guy is also like, I don't know if you saw, but he cut all his hair off. So like everyone's arguing that his like aerodynamics are going to be even more now because he doesn't have any hair. So like got to shut that down. But I definitely think that they kept that game a lot closer than we were anticipating. I think, like we were expecting that to be a much bigger gap between the Saints and the Giants, and they kept it close. So definitely doing that, keeping that game close, and hopefully it will keep people in the seats. And just obviously, Micah McFadden and that defense has to continue to just do what they need to do and not let them score as many points. But at the same time, the offense is not going to put that many points up on the board. Because the Ravens, the Ravens defense is probably one of the best defenses in the NFL. So
whoever thought we'd be saying Micah McFadden and that defense?
That's what I'm saying. If you told me this 15 weeks ago, I'd be like, really? We're going to be talking about Micah in week 15? And here we are.
But he's one hell of a player. I'm going to say that. He's one hell of a player.
He'll just get our player of the week every week for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and he would have gotten it this week if we did one, but we did not because there are more important things to talk about. Yeah. So with John Runyon likely being out this week, I think what the Giants have to do is establish the run early, and it's going to be very, very difficult because the Ravens have the second best rush defense in the National Football League. They're giving up just 82.7 yards per game. Justin Matabik is really, really good. Top nose tackle, 7 TFLs. Remember, John Michael Schmitz did get banged up too this week, so he's questionable. Not sure if he's going to go. If he's out, Greg Van Roten will start at center. Expect Aaron Stinney likely to step in at guard for Runyon. So if I had to guess right now, Sam, it's probably Azudu, Stinney. I'm going to say Schmitz plays as of now, Van Roten, and Neal. Or maybe Jake Kubis starts. I don't even know. They're such a mess. But I did say before that those three interior linemen started every game of the season up until last week. So that's been a mainstay for us. Greg Van Roten is now the only Giant to not miss a snap this season. So definitely
Well,
going to
that's
miss
fun.
him when he walks probably after this year. But
Yeah.
who knows? I think Tracy is in for a big game. Sprinkle Singletary in here and there. Another bad free agent signing, apparently. Or maybe it was just a good draft pick by the Giants and he
It's
outplayed.
I mean, Singletary did start good. I will
Mhm.
give him that credit, but Tracy stepped in and we were like, why are we going to put Devin in when we have Tyrone? So,
Right. And obviously, Sam, we got to protect Tommy Cutlets.
God bless. Unless we
Yeah.
want to see Tim Boyle on the field, which I think will be a new low if that happens. Sorry,
Ravens
Tim.
have Ravens have the third most sacks in the NFL. So yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. Let's get into our players to watch. Sam, this week, who's being watched for Baltimore? Who's being watched for Big Blue?
I'll double down. I'll say Mark Andrews. And then on the defensive side of the ball, somebody I don't think we've mentioned yet, but is 100% should be mentioned. Kyle Van Noy is an insane human being and someone that 100% needs to have our eyes on him. So I'll say those two guys. I mean, Mark Andrews, like I said, apart from the fact that the Giants don't do well against tight ends, he's kind of in the midst to, he's due. And Mark's kind of been silent. He was silent for many, many weeks in the beginning, and then he kind of picked up again. But like this is the type of game where give the ball to Mark Andrews, and every fantasy owner will be pretty happy entering that first week of the playoffs. But yeah, I definitely think those two guys for Baltimore are someone to keep our eye on.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, look, for Baltimore, Derrick Henry, for me, is the obvious one. 1,400 yards, 13 scores, averaging over 100 yards per game. Bet on that, folks, especially against the Giants' run defense. I do not expect a repeat performance of what they did to Kamara last week. Lamar's an obvious one, but
Yeah, of course.
Zay Flowers is the guy. He is the number 2 option behind Andrews, in
Yeah.
my opinion, for Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
4 touchdowns, closing in on 1,000 yards. 60 catches. But the most eye-popping stat is he has 403 yards after the catch. He's very difficult to bring down. Deontay Banks has missed some tackles this season. It's been rough. Baltimore's got a lot of weapons, too. When you look at the touchdowns, I mean, Andrews is 7. That leads the team. Flowers is 4. Bateman is 5. Likely has 4. I know most of Likely's came in the beginning stage of the season, but still, they're really, really good. And they're not even going to have Deontay Johnson because he's suspended. So that's 4 weapons right there, not including Derrick Henry that Lamar has at his disposal.
Insane.
Yikes.
Yeah. Definitely don't think that we're going to be repeating the one NFC team that can beat Lamar Jackson.
No. But I will say Lamar's one weakness this season has been fumbles. He's fumbled the ball 7 times.
Oh, wow.
But Baltimore's only lost 3 of those fumbles. That's why they lost to teams like the Browns and the Raiders early on in the season.
Also,
Lamar's
Browns
ball
is
security.
divisional game as well, and the Browns beat the Steelers, so.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why Stefanski's going to be safe for another year. I mean he's 2-time coach of the year, really bad season, awful quarterback, awful injuries across the board, and they're still staying competitive in games. That's the difference between Stefanski's team and Daboll's team, right? So,
Yep.
at the end of the day, that's what it is. Did we go the Giants? We didn't talk about the Giants yet.
Nope. Do we have to?
I guess so. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just realized I forgot my Ravens guy. I was gonna go with Odafe Owe because he has 8 sacks along with Van Noy. So going up
Well, I
against
got Van
those
Noy
2
in there,
tackles.
so.
Yeah. So let's get to the Giants though. Who
Well,
do you got, Sam?
we'll throw our guy Micah in here because he's
Mm-hmm.
obviously someone that we've been talking about a lot and for very obvious reasons. And for offensive side of the ball, I'll say Tyrone Tracy because Malik is trying. And the thing is that, Malik can't do Malik things if he's not given the ball. And it's very obvious that he's not targeted nearly as much as he should be. Despite complaining about it, I thought that was going to change a lot of things, but apparently it didn't. But yeah, Tyrone Tracy is somebody who is just another light, like Micah is, just not in it for anything other than just being on the team and being, on the quieter side of things and just doing his job and getting out there, performing well, giving us a little bit of some positive energy while continuing to lose games.
Exactly. And that's why I'm going with under the radar players too.
Yeah.
I'm not picking Malik Neighbors, although he's been pretty good the last 6 weeks. He's closing in on 1,000 yards his rookie year,
That's
possibly
true.
100 catches as well. He's got 80 right now and 819 receiving, so he's on track.
Which is impressive despite the
Yeah.
type of season that we've been having.
And look, Baltimore's pass defense is not very good. It's gotten better, but it's not great. That's their one weakness defensively. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Daniel Bellinger scores a touchdown this week. He scored a touchdown against Baltimore back in 2022. Part of that fourth quarter comeback led by.
Did I put that clip in the intro?
You might have.
I think that Bellinger touchdown that's in our intro video is that game.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with him because he had 7 targets last week from Drew Lock and 5 receptions. And he's not bad receiving. I don't know why they haven't used him much in the receiving game the last 3 seasons. And then defensively, it's Kayvon Thibodeau. We all know what Brian Burns can do. He's got 7 sacks. But Kayvon, when he's been healthy, he's been decent outside of week 1. 3 sacks, 6 TFLs in 8 games played this year. He gets the matchup of rookie right tackle Ryan Rosengarten. That is a mismatch for Baltimore. So expect the Giants to exploit that. Rosengarten has not been bad. He's, the 2nd-round pick, but he's still getting polished in the pass blocking game. His pass blocking numbers are a little bit below average right now compared to run blocking. So that's who I've got for my players to watch for the Giants.
There you go.
And then we get to our laundry list.
Oh yeah.
Sam, you want to do the honor? This is
Shall
awful. This is like a third of the roster.
All right. Drew Lock, heel, did not participate. Evan Neal, ankle, did not participate. John Runyon, ankle, did not participate. Bobby Okereke, back, did not participate. Rakeem Nunez-Roches, neck, shoulder, did not participate. Drew Phillips, shoulder, did not participate. Malik Neighbors was limited. Deontay Banks was limited. Dane Belton, Jermaine Illuminor, Josh Azudu, Cordell Flott, Bryce Ford Wheaton, Art Green, Chris Hubbard, Jordan Riley, and John Michael Schmitz. All limited with various injuries. I don't think I have it in me to read them all. I did that in under 40 seconds, I think.
You did. That was very impressive.
Thank you. I tried my best.
That was very impressive. and Baltimore is fully healthy.
Yeah.
They had one guy with a hamstring who didn't practice.
Who's a safety.
Yeah.
Who I don't actually
safety.
I don't I was gonna say I don't even really recognize his name.
Yeah. Even the players who aren't 100% for them practice in full.
17 people on our injury report.
So what's 53 divided by 3? Because that might be around 17. 53.
17. Yeah. 17 point blah, 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 blah.
So it's a third of the 53-man roster, Sam, that is on the injured list.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
On our way to 2-12. Love it. I just gave away the next segment, prediction time. I think it's not who's going to win the game. It's the score.
Yeah, agreed.
What are you thinking for this score? Because for some reason, I feel like the Giants might score a couple touchdowns this week.
I respect that. And I do think that the line is too big. So I do not think if you're picking the Ravens to cover, I don't think that is going to happen. But I do think that we are going to be fairly embarrassed. I'm going 34-10. with a very comfortable lead for the Ravens. I think I think there's going to be at least one touchdown, and Graham Gano will actually make a field goal for once in his life and get us 10 points at least into the double digits, but can't see more than that. But I'd love to hear how you think we're getting a couple touchdowns on the board.
Yeah, so I think I think the Giants score one in the first half. I think Tommy DeVito finds Daniel Bellinger in the end zone for a nice touchdown pass. Again, they got guys like Roquan Smith at linebacker who are really, really good. But I think Bellinger sneaks one through on a red zone play. I think Baltimore is up 31-7 late. I think we get a garbage time touchdown to either Malik Neighbors or Darius Slayton, maybe Tyrone Tracy, who knows. 31-14. Baltimore wins, barely covers, and Baltimore, they cannot clinch a playoff spot even if they do win this week, but they'll be closer to it if they do, and they'll need a little help from Philadelphia to beat Pittsburgh to get within a game of the AFC North. And I'm not sure if that'll happen because not to go off topic, but Russell Wilson has never lost a game in Philly, and the Steelers have not beaten the Eagles in Philly since like 1960 something. Yeah.
I do love a good Steagles game. It is some real hatred over there. It's pretty crazy.
There is. That's right. They had to combine teams during, what was it, World War II or something? They had to combine
Steagles.
The Steagles.
Which honestly, I've seen, I think Jordan has a Steagles shirt, and the logo's pretty cool. I won't lie.
That.
It's really cool.
I love it. Next week, I guess we're going to have Noah on, talk about the Falcons, and watch us win that game.
I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised. We're going to win one more game this season. I can't imagine we lose out.
It'll be Atlanta or Indy, in my opinion. We have a chance both weeks, to be honest with you. I'm not saying we win, but we have a chance against both those teams. The Colts with Richardson. You never know what you're going to get from him. And then Kirko, unfortunately, I think that Achilles injury is really hurting him. So
it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Sam, any final thoughts?
Absolutely none.
Perfect.
I can't think about it anymore.
Yeah. Folks, if you like what you watch, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment what you think of this show. Do you think we do a good job talking about a trash 2-11 team? We really try our best to keep you as engaged. Make sure to check out our segment as well earlier in the show about the quarterbacks and a couple fun stories. And yeah, it'll be fun. We will see you all next week. On behalf of Sam Cardona Norberg, I'm Tom Scavetto, wishing you all a good night. Happy holidays, and let's go Big Blue.